Eagle Pass, Texas right now, which is, if not the major story, clearly one of the major stories right now. Live look down on the southern border. Our Owlie Bradley reporting today that on Monday there were more than 12,500 migrants who were stopped at Eagle Pass, Texas. It is the highest encounters ever in a single day on the southern border in U.S. history. Ashley.
I mean, you know how mad this makes me. And I actually 100%.
I didn't start with you because of that. I started with you because you were employee number one at DHS, but go.
Again, I say this all the time. I think it's the #1 issue facing our country right now. And I know the people that are coming over this border, most of them are not people that do want to keep us safe. They are people that want to hurt us. And I think it's a huge problem. And the Biden administration is doing nothing. And if you look at what happened just this week in regards to the Senate trying to get money for Ukraine and Israel, not that Republicans don't support that, but we have to do something about our own border first. And these are the numbers that just demonstrate that time and time and time again.
All right, so the governor there, Greg Abbott, taking things into his own hands, I think quite literally, you could say, right? He signed into law basically a measure that would allow police officers in the state to arrest migrants in the state. However, those are federal powers, and now the ACLU is suing. Here's what they say, quote, "We're suing to block Texas from enforcing the most extreme anti-immigrant law in the nation. The unconstitutional law allows Texas judges to deport people and allow police to arrest people over suspicions about immigration status. Texas, we will see you in court." Greg Abbott has responded today saying President Biden has repeatedly refused to enforce federal immigration laws on the books and do his job to secure the border.
And what else is he supposed to do?
Well, I'll say, much like how Republicans are struggling with the answer of abortion because their base wants them to go further than the American public want to go. In our case, in the Democratic Party, immigration is that issue. Our base won't let us go where we need to go, where the majority of American people are. And when you listen to border state Democrats like our upcoming guest, Henry Cuellar of Texas, who has been an amazing leader and strong voice for sensible, comprehensive immigration reform and addressing the border, our party is going to be out of touch with voters until we figure this out.
I agree with Brad. I think that we've been slow on the uptake on this one. I think Fetterman was right to call out Democrats and say it's not a problem, to call out the problem that exists in front of our eyes. We should be dealing with this. I disagree, though, Ashley, that Biden has done nothing. There's $14 billion in front of the House and the Senate on this that they will not act on. And there's the broad framework of a deal that could come together. But this is complicated politics and complicated policy to get all this stuff right. I think we're in a bad place in our politics to do that, partly because as slow as Democrats have been on the issue, Republicans have frankly used this too cynically and too politically and implied that all these folks who are in a humanitarian crisis are somehow in and of themselves a danger. There is danger because they create a chaotic border that can be then taken advantage of. But those cynical politics have helped not create the conditions for a deal which needs to happen.
I don't blame Abbott for doing what he's doing. I don't blame the ACLU for doing what they're doing. It's a fascinating issue, right? Is it a state issue? Is it a federal issue? Where is it? What I'm going to be looking for is this. When we get to arguments in the case, will some of those blue state, blue city mayors and governors be submitting friend of the court briefs? And if so, on which side? Will Mayor Adams in New York City come down with Greg Abbott on this? Because those folks who cross the border in Texas are ending up in New York City. It's one of those fascinating issues where it's no longer falling neatly into Republican and Democrat camps.
But I think they're about to find out this is an expensive endeavor. If you're going to take on immigration and arresting immigrants and housing them and processing them, that's an expensive endeavor. So I don't know. Texas may have the budget for it, but I don't know about any of these other localities.
Absolutely. Can I ask one question? So what do you think, why hasn't it been as bad as it is until today? I mean, it wasn't this bad under Trump. It wasn't this bad under Obama. It wasn't this bad under Bush.
Well, there's several things happening. One, the pandemic has ended and Title 42 has ended. Two, you've got the massive influx of folks in Central and South America who are fleeing despots and cartels. And there's a huge influx of humanity from that aspect. I think this is multifaceted. There's the issue of dealing with those countries on a diplomacy basis. There's the issues of who gets to stay in, who gets to go out. I do think some Democrats don't want to go back to Title 42 because that's a chip that they can use in terms of broader reforms, which should happen. That whole package—
Is that a mistake?
I'm not in the negotiations. It's hard for me to say. I think those are serious things. I do question whether this Congress that can barely get a speaker elected can tackle this issue right now. But it's a complicated
process. All right, we'll speak social media too. WhatsApp and people are about to communicate with one another.
I agree.
Speaking of this, thank you for watching. And make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.